Hello, my name's Sarah, and in your pack from the pyramid this week you should have some fabric bunting and some fabric pens. And this video is really just to give you some ideas for getting started and thinking about how to design and decorate your bunting. So the motto for the pyramid is connect, create and celebrate, and it'd be really good if you could keep these themes in mind when you're thinking about how to design your bunting. You could choose to do one word per flag, or you could just think about all the words on all of the flags together. So really we'll leave it up to you. It's nice and loose, but just to give you some ideas to think about the places and the people that connect us, show us your best creations, and hopefully when we get them all back, we'll be able to connect them all together and display them in the pyramids when we're all able to come back and celebrate together, doing lots of community events. So hopefully that'll not be too long. So I find it a good idea when I'm thinking about ideas to just maybe go for a walk and see what's round about us. So I'm going to show you some pictures just from the local area of things, buildings that I've noticed, patterns in nature, some beasties that we've seen, lots of lovely colours in the flowers. And it's a really good idea if you can just to go out and do the same and see what it is about where you stay and the views from your windows, and maybe keep these things in mind when you're designing your bunting, because it'd be lovely to really celebrate everybody that lives in Anderson with their own view of what they see and what's important and what makes it special for them. And we'd love to see that when it comes back on the bunting. So I'll show you some pictures first to get some ideas, and then have a wee think about how we can use those. Okay, so in your pack you should have some fabric pens, and you'll have a selection of different colours, and they're really easy to use. They're just like felt tip pens. You just draw or colour in with them exactly as you would with normal felt pens. When you're using them though, it is a good idea, because you don't have a lot of the bunting, it's a good idea to get your designs worked out on paper first and maybe use your sketchbook and come up with lots of different ideas. So just have a play around and see what you like and see which ones you decide are the best. Some ideas that you could try, and just some starting points, are thinking back to things that you've maybe done already with the first art pack that you got in the pyramid pack. You got felt pens in that, and one of the first videos was about exploring colour and pattern, which could be quite a good way to think about connecting. There should be a video on YouTube still, and it's called the kaleidoscope drawing, and it was about using toilet roll tubes and colouring them in to do lots of different colours. Now in the video I used the watercolour paints, but you could easily use it with the pens and colour it in, and that might be quite a nice effect and quite a really eye-catching but quite a simple way to do it. Also, it's okay to use a mix of different things. You don't have to just use the pens. So you might decide that you want to use your pens to colour in the flag, the bunting, and you could colour it in lots of nice stripes. But then as you see here, these are the blow art monsters that were also done using the watercolour. So you could make lots of these monsters and stick them on. Now, as long as these holes are clear, then that is absolutely fine to stick things onto your flag. And that's quite a nice way of bringing some life to it, because they've got the cheeky monsters on it. Other ideas might be, if you're not that comfortable with drawing this type of thing, it's okay to use things like cookie cutters. That's some different shapes. You can draw around those, and that could give you some nice different types of patterns. You could do something called collage, which is when you cut out, and here I've got some wrapping paper, and you could cut out some little characters from the wrapping paper, and you could stick those onto the flag. Let's see where they are. So if Lego is something that you love, or whatever wrapping paper you have, and just see what scraps you've got lying around. You could also, with the same way, I find these pictures just in a magazine, in a newspaper, but we have lots of seagulls round about where I stay, and sometimes we're lucky to get little robins as well. So maybe you might decide that you want to cut these out and stick them on. Now, if you are sticking them on, and think you got glue in your first pack, and this glue will work fine. Just make sure you've got plenty on the back and squish it down. And then you could add, using your pens, you could draw around it and do lots of different colours. You might also be really creative and decide that you want to make some 3D things. So here I've made some flowers out of newspaper. Really, really simple. Just cut lots of little circles out of newspaper, and then using the watercolour paints, I've painted them on, join them all together, put a button in the middle, and then scrunch them up, and then you'll get a flower. You could take a bit more time to do that, and hopefully you'll get something like this, but just experiment and play with whatever you have lying around. There's also things like, I've got a big jar of different types of sequins, could be quite nice as well. So if you like sparkly things, you could maybe have some sparkles. Just make sure they're really, really glued on, because they can be quite hard to stick down. Or you might decide that actually you love drawing, which is brilliant. And hopefully the photos have given you some ideas about maybe the different skylines, the different places you like. Even places that aren't in Anderston, places that are really special to you, and that you bring with you, and it would be really great to see all of those. You might decide that you want to do one flag for each word, or you might decide that you want to join them all together. And here's a little one that I did, thinking about the handprints. So you could maybe draw around people in your house, or your own hand, and you could decorate it with the things that are special to you. So I look forward to seeing all of your ideas, and I'm sure it's going to be great, and hopefully we'll get them all joined together, and we can all come together and celebrate and see it all together. So thank you.